Esport ekranlarına hoş geldiniz. Anadolu Efes, Turkish Airlines Euroleague'de playoff'a girdi. Özellikle son bölümde yakaladığı muazzam formuyla beraber ve bu dönemi biraz da tabii öncesine giderek yaşananları Anadolu Efes baş antrenörü Luca Banchi ile konuşacağız. Coach, first of all, thank you for joining us here in Abdipekçi. You know, this construction from maybe the old days. Now we are here in the new gym. So, first of all, how are you? You are in the playoffs right now, so how do you feel?
I feel happy, of course. Very proud for what the guys did.
Yeah.
It was an amazing effort, starting from the the FIBA break, and then 8 wins in a row. That let's say on a prediction looks impossible, but we did. So, as I told you, it's a mix of emotion. But now I feel the responsibility to keep the team at such a high level of performances, because we will cross the defending champions, you know, and Ergin, he is the guy who knows how to repeat. He already did, and we are on the way, and the first who will try to impede him to repeat.
Yeah, Coach, we will talk about this playoff, of course, matchup with Panathinaikos and Ergin, and you. Maybe your destinies are crossed with Ergin Ataman, since we are going to talk about the Eurobasket also. But Coach, let's rewind a little bit. You resigned from Virtus Bologna in the middle of the season, which is we don't often see from the coaches of EuroLeague. And maybe your phone rang and Anadolu Efes called you to be their head coach. How did this process look like for you?
Totally unexpected. Okay, my decision came from my, let's say, vision about some not negotiable that I have, let's say, in my work ethic before to be a coach, being a person who cannot accept such compromises. Unfortunately, after such a successful season here before, this year in Bologna, the situation was not so good as before. And I arrived at the conclusion that probably it was better for me to quit. I understand if something sounds weird, especially when we talk about EuroLeague job, that for most of the coaches is a sort of, let's say, perfect condition and status, but I really believe that at some moment you have to do it in respect of your values, and that's it. My mind was probably that I have to focus on something else. Of course, I will have a very busy summer with the national team, and I was in beginning of January in Estonia before, and after in Latvia to do something with the national team when the call from Efes arrived. And as I told several times, no matter of the, let's say, the terms of the contract, when a club like Efes asks you, there is only one answer, and it's yes. And so it was just a matter to pack my small bag and go to Istanbul with a stop in Rome, because I have materially to take my passport.
You were in Riga when it called.
I was in Riga, and I need my passport to enter Turkey. So that's what happened. Everything unexpected, but I was, immediately so excited to have the possibility, because I really want to enjoy my job, and I had a club, a so successful club, who gave me the possibility to have 15 more games in EuroLeague, plus the possibility to prove myself in a very competitive league like Turkey, where I never been before. And actually, as some friends say, it's one more flag in my let's say
European map.
in my map, and it's let's say it's funny. It's funny.
It's funny. Coach, usually when there's a coach change, coach came to a team and maybe brings their own stuff and changes everything. But you came here and the whole stuff was there. And you managed to build a new chemistry with Tommy and his stuff. How was that for you? Because, you know, you step in the team and everybody's there. Nobody gone from the team. So this was an unusual, unprecedented situation for when we look at the past things. So how did you handle this situation?
Okay, let's say it's difficult to answer. Probably is one of the reasons why they believe I'm crazy to accept such a task, because most of my colleagues probably they check the schedule before to accept the jobs. Yeah. And if I look at the schedule, I have no reason to come. Plus, not having the possibility to bring any coach with me, that usually is it's a strategy to accelerate the process. It's another reason why. But from the very beginning, when I heard that was a possibility, for example, that Tommy will stay, for me it was a sort of insurance that we can continue to work and progress. As I told from the first day, I don't want to be the person who change. I don't want to be the person who, you know, who want to come to impose his vision about basketball. But the most important when you enter during the season is that you don't have to slow down the growing process of the team. And that's what I did from the beginning. I really thanks the staff, everybody around, and the players as well, because they make me feel part of this process from day one. I try from my side to do the best from the very beginning. I double my effort to study the system, to learn about the players, to learn about you know, the different environment is Efes and Turkey in general, just to be on their side and to represent, let's say, an asset for the club. And at the beginning, honestly, the things were not working so well as expected. And that created some stress also in me, because I was wishing to help everybody to perform at the best. But you know, most of the times such a process takes time. It was good to have around people who really trust me, the coaches, the management, Ismail, and the president in that part of the process was crucial, because he gave me objective, let's say, he did the objective action who proved that he was supporting us as a staff and as a team.
And you came to Istanbul like 2 days later. You played against us well, 2 days or a couple of practices, and you faced just one practice, and you faced against us well. But they were hot in that time of the EuroLeague. As you mentioned, it was very hard, but you didn't get the results as soon as you come. How did you, change the moods, the chemistry between the results and bad results and good results?
I believe mostly is connected with the possibility to present the same roster for several games in a row. Like every team at that level, of course, playing so often, it takes some risk of injuries. We had good preparation during the FIBA break. Finally, some days to practice together, to work on our general condition, physical, technical condition. And I believe there are no special recipe than the hard work in the gym. Little by little, the players adapt to the system. They adapt to the level of demanding. And I believe the court at the end is what really judge. And the ball never lie. The team was performing well. The players, they were showing all their potential. And I really start feeling because also during the season I saw several times, and I played against Efes. Unfortunately, we lost our opening home game against Efes. I saw during the season this team was capable to have amazing peaks. Just to remind you, the win in Madrid against Real, or the big home win against Panathinaikos, the defending champion, you know. And then after my arrival, for example, I can mention the plus 44 against Milano, where it was impressive how the team performed. 40 minutes long was just an example of the realistic possibility that team has. But of course, you have to feed such a potential with the capacity to be performant and be continuous. That is not simple, especially when you play so often and you don't have so much time to practice the team.
Coach, but there were some big decisions to make during this stretch. You were working with Ismail Şenol, which is our friend from the old days of our television station, and now he's in step into this business. He's a rookie, of course, in this position, but you gel together and make big decisions, like PJ Dozier arrived at the team maybe before you, or maybe at the same time. And you let go of Justus Solats and Stanley Johnson. And you maybe have a clear rotation with your team. That clear rotation helped with your growth with the team?
Nobody knows. What I can say is that from the very beginning, I receive a very clear, fair, and strict messages from the club. You know, and that's one of the reasons who convinced me to take such a kind of risk. A short-term contract in a new environment with such a tough schedule. But the club has a vision. Ismail has a vision. First, to trust me, despite of my, let's say, status, because you know, just 1 year ago, I was here after a very successful EuroLeague season with Bologna, who had the 14th position the season before and was in 50% wins, despite a 0-7 record in the last 7 games of EuroLeague. We achieved the play-in, only Italian team able to have a postseason. We won in Efes, you know, but as we know, people has a short memory. And when I signed in Efes, for everybody, I was the coach who resigned. Even somebody said, who get fired from Bologna, last team in EuroLeague. I don't care. And what I felt around is that they select the coach, they select the person, and they had the vision exactly what I can bring to the system in such a specific moment. Because not to forget, I'm not here to build. I'm here just to be part of this season and try to help that team in this moment to be successful. Okay? So that was clear. And also the way they approach, for example, the market, from the very first call, they asked me in advance. Ismail told me, I remember his words. He said, listen, we already agree with PJ Dozier to add him in a team. But if you don't like him, the coach has the last word. You know, and for me, that sounds like, wow, where I'm now. And then I say, of course, I like him. And but then with his arrival, that the newcomer, of course, stress even more the role into the team. I gave everybody the possibility in the first 2 weeks to have the chance to step on a court, but then my position is to take decision. And I have to help the club to simplify the process. There's no possibility to make everybody happy, but there is the possibility to valorize everybody according with the role they have into the team. And that's what we try to do together with Isma and together with the property, because of course that pass also through the, you know, the peaks of the club. We decide to let somebody go, and actually we have a 15 players roster. Unfortunately 14 after the Rodri injury, but where everybody, I think, has idea how he can contribute to keep the team at a high level of performance, both competition, because this is another big challenge.
Yeah.
We want to compete every single night.
Coach, when I talk to the people around the club, they always told me the importance of Aliya Petkin game. They always say this is the breaking point. What happened there? Why people saying that Aliya Petkin game is the breaking point of the season? Because you lost the game, and maybe the team understand the importance of the season. What happened there? Why the team peaked from that game?
Okay, let's say for sure that game is a red circle in our map, season map. I would say probably the turning point, especially in EuroLeague season, is the game in Munich against Bayern, because the game, the way we won the game, the way we perform and we stick each other during that game, that since my arrival was our first on-the-road win in EuroLeague, probably is the turning point. This Aliaga game, as I told you, is in our calendar as a, let's say, red circle, because the way probably we lost the game and the way we respond after the game, because it's not a secret. We stay in a gym till something like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. We had a video. We watched the game after the game.
Right after the game.
Right after the game. We watched the game all together in a video room. We had a sort of, let's say, meeting also in a court. I remember that we asked the people to switch on the lights. It was around 1:30 in the morning, something like that. I remember that we crossed Gala people coming back from their on-the-road game. So probably they were shocked to see the lights on in the gym. But for us, it was probably the possibility to face the reality, to talk each other. Everybody had the chance to talk, to express his opinion, and to take the real, and to touch the reality of a very tough season that we have the power to turn in a successful one. It's in our hands. And actually, it seems that we can continue to dream.
Yeah. And maybe this is my observation, but the defense picked from maybe from that game, or maybe after the national team break. Because before the national team break, maybe you were in the 11th or 12th position in defensive rating. But during that 8-game span, just the 8 games, you were the first team in defensive rating. What was the change of mentality in the defensive side? Because I remember some flashes. Shane sprinted to chase Carson Edwards and gained the ball during a transition, defensive transition. In Partizan game, there were some late switches that team did a great job in defensive way. Do you think this kind of defensive mental changed during this span?
I believe, as I told you, we really need to stay together, to be complete, to have a proper high intensity in practice, because the way you practice is the way you play, or the way you play is exactly the picture of the way you practice. We were competing during the week. We were preparing ourselves in the best way possible. Plus, we know the value of our players. We present a roster that is one of the most competitive in the entire league. Such people, they know how to play, they know how to win. And when you have such a, let's say, background, you know that skills can help you to collect the stats, but the effort give you trophies.
Yeah.
And actually the team seems to be in a good path to share the sacrifice we need to be a competitive team, no matter who we have in front. And such a effort, and such a approach start from the defensive effort.
Yeah. And maybe this defensive effort brings the team to a position that in the offense the ball was moving. You use a lot of motions during the offense. Maybe because of the PJ Dozier is in the team, there's players that can create for the other players also. And you are using the low post with Schmitz and Ercan. How do you like your team's sharing in the offensive end?
I really like the fact that we have some facilitator in the team, you know, and I don't want to go through the position or through the names, but according with the skills. It's pretty simple to understand that we have players who make our court bigger offensively. You know, you can have some spacing makers, and we really have people who can facilitate the game of everybody. It's a matter to stay simple. It's a matter to know each other. It's a matter to create this kind of harmony. Because for me, basketball is like music. When you collect the music notes, okay, there are million combinations. But what can create a good song is the harmony. So there are million options in a basketball court. You can play the basketball you want, but only when you combine time and space, the harmony sounds nice. And that's what we need. We need to set the tone through the passes. We need to set the tone through the spacing. We need to set the tone through the capacity to share the ball and to act and react together as a collective. Such a concept sounds simple, but takes the longest time to be, you know, to be realized on a court. So as some coaches used to say, play simple is the most difficult part of the game.
And you need to, you know, convince your team captain, Shane Larkin, to gel into the system, gel to a new approach from a coach. How is your relationship with him during this time? Because he always, of course, he likes the ball in his hands, but now he wants to share the ball. Now he's playing good defense, these games that we mentioned. How do you like his contribution to your system?
I really like a lot. I believe when you have a player like Shane Larkin in the team is a privilege. I remember that some rumors came out before I signed officially, and I was not communicating my family because they were looking for me in a Rome airport. But I was continuing to Istanbul. And I remember one message from my son who's playing basketball, and he told me, "Is it true that you are going to Efes?" And I said,
and you were always going.
Hey, please don't say no, because in my family they are kind of scared about my decision that are out of ordinary, let's say. And my son say, "You have the chance to coach Shane Larkin. Don't say no. Don't say no." And I say, "Okay, let's see. Let's see." So as I told you, when you are in coaching, and like me, you have the chance to cross your life and your experience with such a people, it's a gift. You know, I'm thinking about my experience in Bologna, close to Marco Bellinelli, Tocco Schengelia, you know, just to give you a small example. And I don't want to mention everybody. I don't want to be disrespectful, but that's what can really make the difference. Being in Efes and share the gym or the locker room and the meeting and the trip with players like Shane Larkin, Rodrigue Beaubois, Vincent Poirier, Elijah Bryant, who already won EuroLeague, and a coach like, you know, Coach Tommy and his staff, you know, is something that make you better every single day. If you ask me about my relationship with Shane, I cannot talk about it. We cross each other since a short time. I really hope that he will feel myself as a contribution, and I see him as one of our pillar of the program, not only for what he represents as a player on a court, but for the value that he expressed on a court. I remember the last win against Zalgiris that we had a meeting, post-game meeting, and I invite some youngster to enter our locker room because I want them to focus about our fourth quarter. When I saw such a player like Shane, like Elijah, like, you know, every single guys on the court, dive on the ball, you know, to win these fumbles. Honestly, their status, their condition can allow them to play a very conservative basketball because still they are in this throne, you know. Shane is one of the top 25 in the EuroLeague history. Doesn't make sense to do what he did. And when a young fan, player sees such example, what to talk about? This is not basketball. This is something who goes at the next level. So at the end of this experience, I would say, be on his side, and I really hope that he will feel myself on a side in a sort of servant service to the team will make me happy. I hope to earn his respect after this common experience.
And you mentioned his sacrifice during the Žalgiris game, and what about his sacrifice in the Red Star game? He wasn't supposed to play in the second half, but he got into the courts after Rodik's injury. Can you tell us about this moment? What happened in the locker room? And he came to the team in the second half, and eventually he played and get the game.
I mean, everything starts before. He gets sick, unfortunately, and we were expecting him not even to travel because that illness provokes some risk. If you go on an airplane and you go through some stress in terms of air compression. And he decided to be close to the team because, of course, he understood the importance of this do-or-die game that for us were about 8. So it was another one. And, okay, he didn't play at the beginning. Then we need some rotation because we were kind of short and the game was very demanding. His impact was a bit complicated. He was struggling even to breathe. And when we went in a locker room, he started throwing out. He went to the bathroom in the toilet with the doctors. He was not participating the meeting at the halftime because he was throwing out. It's not very elegant to tell, but that's the picture. So we were preparing. I was prepared to approach the second half without Shane. And then the Rodri injury happened. And at the end of the third quarter, I went to him and I told him very directly, are you able to play? And say, of course, I am. And that's what he did. You know, one more statement of his, of what he represents for the entire program. Because here is not to be the best scorer, is not to be the most talented, is not to be the captain, but is to be the leader. And it's not the title who make you a leader, but is your behavior and what the people around see in you. So the leadership is something that you cannot buy by the titles, but you can earn by the behavior. And Shane is a typical example of a person who acts as a leader.
Coach, with all these sacrifices and the moments, now you are in the playoffs. Now you are going to face Panathinaikos, as you mentioned, the last champion. How do you feel about this matchup? It will be a huge game, huge series beginning next week. So how do you feel about Panathinaikos and Ergin Ataman? Of course, once again, you are going to be opponent to him. So how do you feel about this matchup?
Okay, if you go through the top 6 or top 8, who will be the top 8? You can't find any single easy matchup. We talk about the defending champion, where is 1 possible candidate at the MVP of the EuroLeague. We talk about a team who has everything you expect in terms of skills, but also in terms of winning mentality. That's something you have to keep in mind, that the team and the players or the coaches who's familiar with wins has this, let's say, natural or nature as a winner, okay? That you have to keep in mind, that they, no matter what, they know the way to succeed. That's why we have to prepare ourselves, not only technically, but also mentally, to face a team with a very high level of confidence. Their crowd, it's another plus, because of the capacity to invert the inertia of a game. And we already check on our skin how was our game in Oaxaca, where we were more or less in control, and then suddenly everything changed. And such players, they have the power to become game changers. That's why we have to feel this sense of urgency, that especially entering in the crunch moment of the game, we have to be better than them. Something we can obtain through the daily effort in the practice, you know, bringing good memories from our last part of season. Doesn't mean that we have to approach the series with the arrogancy of a team who got 8 wins in a row. That will give more confidence to Pana than to Efes, okay? We have to be humble, go there as an underdog, and know that we have in front the defending champion, that they will use all their experience, all their power to repeat. And it's a big challenge. I see that that matchup as an opportunity. I will face probably the best coaching staff in the EuroLeague, but I feel that I have the same on my side. We will face probably the most powerful roster in a EuroLeague, but I don't feel my players less competitive than them, and will be interesting. And about the crowd, he is not playing the basketball on a court. It's a matter just not to make such off-court details affect our game. So control the nerves, control the emotion, play hard, single possession, and collect good possession, both hands, offense and defense. And first and most important, enjoy the game, because we have the privilege to play the playoff, to be in a top 8, and I believe that we are going to build something stable, no matter how long will be our series with Pana.
Coach, I want to finish up with Mr. President, because you know he was always watching the game from upstairs. But I think the first game was Milano game, that he was sitting in the court sides. We all felt his presence on the court. How has his supportive nature helped you guys to build this kind of a chemistry with president, to GM, to coach, to all the players? How did it help you to, you know, build this kind of a momentum?
He helped me a lot. I already told during my post-game press conferences, because I want everybody to join these emotions, to join these vibes. You know, when you have such a charismatic person who runs this club, is not only about, you know, a name, but it's about a role. And I believe that also our president, he knows very well how or what power he has to impact all the people around. That the reason why there are no special secret, that such a person make also their companies excellence, okay? And he sees basketball like a part of his companies. And he understood that we were struggling, and he would like to bring his contribution. He cannot do it objectively on a court, then just give the support. You know, for Isma is a first season in this position, in a very strange condition, not to be the guy who build the team, but no matter what, at some point, being the guy who take important decisions. And the new coach coming, who never coached Efes before, who never coached in Turkey before. And results were not so promising at the beginning, you know, and have your president who gives such objective demonstrations of his trust, I believe was the most important, you know, way to initiate the winning process that we really wish will never end.
Yeah. Coach, thank you, because we will talk about these playoffs next week. We will dive into the details in the upcoming days, but let's finish it here, right here.
Yes, also because, you know, I'm Italian and I have the tendency to go long.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Grazie mille for this interview. Thank you very much.
Prego.
Koç Banchi ile röportajımız bu şekildeydi. Playoff'ta birçok önemli röportajımızı sizlerle beraber olacağız. Hoşçakalın.